Okay, what if I told you that competition is for losers? Seriously, what if the goal of every truly great business isn't to be the best, but to be the only one? That's the wild, provocative idea at the heart of Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. And in the next few minutes, we're going to break down its radical blueprint for building the future. It all starts with this one question. This is the question Peter Thiel asks to find genuine, original thinkers. Because, a good answer isn't just some random opinion. It's like a secret map. A map to a hidden truth that you could actually build a world-changing company around. The rest of the book is all about how to find that truth and then what to do with it. So, how do you find a truth that almost nobody else sees? Well, Thiel kicks things off by completely redefining what we even mean by progress. He argues that most of what we think of as progress is really just copying stuff. The real leaps forward, those 0 to 1 moments, that's something else entirely. And here it is, the core idea in one simple visual. On the left, you've got 1 to n. That's just taking something that works and making more of it. Think about a successful coffee chain opening up another store. It's good, it works, but it's not new. Now on the right, that's 0 to 1. That's creating something totally new, right out of thin air. The very first smartphone, the first truly viable electric car. This, Thiel says, is where real, lasting value gets created. It's the only way we invent a future that's actually different from the present. Okay, so if going from 0 to 1 is the path, where are we trying to go? And this is where Thiel drops his biggest, most controversial idea. The goal isn't to compete. The goal is to create a monopoly. And look, this isn't just some clever one-liner. It's a profound business diagnosis. What Thiel is saying is that companies stuck in fierce competition are all miserable in the exact same way. They're just fighting over tiny scraps of profit. But a happy company, well, it's happy because it's unique. It's found a secret, solved a problem no one else has, and carved out a space where it has no real competition. It's basically escaped the daily battle for survival. Which leads to this absolutely brutal conclusion. It sounds so arrogant, right? But the logic is actually pretty straightforward. In a market with perfect competition, think airlines or most restaurants, any profit you make gets immediately eaten up by the next guy trying to undercut you. It becomes a race to the bottom that leaves no money, no time, and no mental energy for the big, bold, world-changing ideas. This table just lays it all out, crystal clear. It shows the two different universes a business can exist in. On the left, it's a daily dogfight just to stay alive. But on the right, you're building for the ages. And that's the key here. A creative monopoly isn't just about raking in cash. It's about earning the freedom to think decades into the future. I mean, look at Google's dominance in search. It's not just a cash cow. It's the engine that lets them make these huge, crazy 0 to 1 bets on things like AI and quantum computing. So how in the world do you build a company like that? Thiel completely dismisses the whole Silicon Valley obsession with being the first mover. He says it's a trap. The real prize isn't being first, it's being the last mover. The goal is to create a solution so good, so dominant, that it becomes the final word in that market for years, even decades to come. And the strategy for becoming that last mover is, well, it's pretty counterintuitive. You don't go after a massive billion-dollar market. No. Instead, you find the smallest possible niche you can, and you own it. You absolutely dominate it. Think about it. Facebook didn't start by trying to connect the whole planet. It started by connecting just one campus, Harvard. Once you're the undisputed king of that tiny pond, then, and only then, do you start expanding into the ponds next door. That's how you build an empire. But a brilliant strategy is totally useless if you don't have the right mindset to actually pull it off. To build something from nothing, to go from 0 to 1, you need a very specific way of looking at the world. And Thiel has a name for it: definite optimism. This right here is the engine of all 0 to 1 thinking. It's the difference between buying a lottery ticket and designing a rocket. It's not just wishful thinking that things will get better. It's the deep-seated belief that you have a concrete plan, a blueprint for a better future, and you're going to go out and build it, piece by piece. So Thiel maps out these 4 different worldviews. An indefinite optimist, for example, just vaguely believes the future will be better but has no real plan. So they just diversify their portfolio and kind of hope for the best. But a definite optimist, like the engineers who worked on the Apollo program, has a grand vision and a detailed step-by-step plan to make it a reality. And that, he says, is the only mindset that actually creates new things. Okay, so we've got the philosophy and we've got the mindset. Now Thiel gives us the playbook. It's a 7-question stress test that any new business idea absolutely must pass if it wants a shot at going from 0 to 1. These 7 questions are basically the final exam for your startup, and Thiel is tough here. He argues that you need a fantastic answer to all 7. Even one weak spot, I'm not sure, can sink an otherwise brilliant idea. So, let's dive into what they are.
All right, let's run through these because each one is so critical. First up, engineering. Is your tech a real game changer, a 10x improvement over whatever is currently out there? Just being 20% better is not enough to get people to change their habits. Next, timing. Why now? What's changed in the world to make your idea suddenly possible? Third, monopoly. We're back to this again. Do you have a real plan to dominate a tiny niche market first? Fourth, people. Do you have the right team, the right chemistry? Are you all obsessed with the same mission? Fifth, distribution. This one gets overlooked all the time. How are you actually going to get your product to customers? The best technology in the world is useless if nobody ever sees it. Sixth, durability. Look into the future. 10, 20 years from now, how will you still be in business? What makes you hard to copy? And finally, the secret question. Have you found a unique opportunity that no one else is seeing? This brings us right back to that very first contrarian question.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate message of 0 to 1, because it's really not just a business book, it's a call to action. You know, the most powerful idea in this entire book is that the future is not inevitable. It's not some destination we're all passively arriving at. We can either let it happen to us just by chance, or we can actually design it with real intention. 0 to 1 is really a plea to stop just tweaking the present and to start building a radically different and better future. And so, we're going to leave you with the final question the book poses, a direct challenge to you. Look around. What valuable, important company is nobody building right now? If you can find the answer to that, you might just have the next 0 to 1 idea.